You said, and I love that. So you said one of the tricks is when you stop thinking about yourself, because when there's no self, there's no pain.
No pain.
And you start living for your team, the people, the other people suffering. I said, I love that.
Yes.
Totally understand that. Servant leadership, wanting to
right.
go beyond oneself. But you pointed out something really fascinating. You said it can lead to pain later.
That's right.
Explain that, because I get that. And
So I've had this mentality for years. It got me through a lot of hard times. You cannot use it every day of your life.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
You cannot use it. I used it as like, my God, this is the perfect, I found it. This is the trick. You don't even matter. You're just a machine. You are a machine. Like just like a lever. That's all you are, man. You're not. You're not. And in my book, I talk about what that lever starts to get rusty, starts to get crusty. It starts to like, I can't even think about anybody but myself. So through the process, what I started to learn was that helps a lot. And you can tap into that all the time. But you have to be able to heal yourself. You have to be able to recover yourself. It can't be something that you continue to do and do and do. There has to be a recovery process for your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit. Encompasses your whole body. Mm-hmm. So those are tactics, but those tactics must be oiled up. That lever has to be oiled again to go back in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not emergency use, but it's used in specific moments,
exactly.
Knowing you can go back. And it's so true that for so many people who want to serve, it becomes the default. And I made that mistake myself. When I became a monk, it was because I wanted to wake up every day and serve. That was my goal. I was like, I want to wake up every day. I want to use everything I've been given to serve humanity. I just want to serve people. I just want to give. And I was just being that.
Right.
And so I would go through sleepless nights. I would push myself for weeks on end to go further for other people. And it was amazing because it felt fulfilling and it helped them too. But after a while, I was broken. I lost my voice for 6 months. I was eating out of tubes for 6 months.
Right.
I was writing on a whiteboard. It was just my whole life kind of crumbled. I was sleeping 14 hours a day then because my life kind of went to the other side.
Yep.
Because I'd worked so hard to just give. And I loved it. Mm-hmm. But in the process, I broke myself because I wasn't refueling. I wasn't renewing.
That's right.
Even though I was still taking, I was still meditating, I was still doing everything.
Yep. I talked about that big time in my last chapter, how it just takes me to nothing, how I'm where you were at. It's taken me 5 years of doing my meditation, my stretching, my eating right, my sleeping right. And you have to be on a constant reminder, almost like how you put a reminder on your phone, 15 minutes, you got this. That has to be in your brain. You've done too much. Stop. Mm. And what happens in life is that we start to see our lives become so successful. Mm. We're making money. We're doing this. We're doing that. I want more. I push harder. I'm all about pushing hard. Don't get me wrong.
Obviously.
I'm all about it. But to push as hard as you can, you have to be mindful of the machine that's pushing. It is going to end up dying. And then it takes years to get it back. So you lose that time.
Totally.
That time is gone. I lost 5 years of I could be crushing it. Where now I'm just now back to crushing it, realizing, God, man, I learned the hard way. That's really sometimes the only way to learn.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes the only way to learn. That's how I've learned the best.
Yeah. How do you know those indicators? So what are those indicators to know I'm pushing too hard or I'm suffering too much? Because it's hard to know, right? Everyone gets in the gym even once a week or whatever. And it's like, if you don't go often, you can feel like you're falling apart after 10 minutes.
Do me a favor. Go to the first page of go to like the first 3 pages of that book. You see one sentence.
Okay. To the unrelenting voice in my head that will never allow me to stop.
Okay. The unrelenting voice that we all have. What happens to that voice? I'm going to answer your question. We all have a voice in our head. Some of us are very spiritual, some of us are not, but we all have this voice and you're doing fucked up shit. This is wrong. Don't do that. The more you don't listen to that voice, the further that voice gets away from your head. Some people call it the Holy Spirit, some people call it God, some monks, whatever you call it. It's there. Mm-hmm. We all have it. Mm-hmm. It's the right or wrong voice. But the more we don't listen to it, the more that voice goes away. Mm-hmm. And the only voice you hear is yourself. Mm-hmm. When the only voice you hear is yourself, you're wrong. There's a voice that guides you through life. And sometimes it's guiding you in a direction that you don't want to go. That's usually the right place to go. It's that uncomfortable place. So that voice is always talking to me, but we don't listen to it. I listen to it. And when I start getting anxious, nervous, like we all know when we've done too much because it's telling us, I'm getting tired, I'm wearing down. But we go. I start talking to my fiance, hey, I'm doing too much. You start now, like I did in Hell Week, like I do all the time, the 1 second decision. It's that decision when your mind starts to get so amped up. Whenever you can't hear yourself think, you gotta slow down. Whenever you're living off a schedule, every day's a schedule, you have no time for yourself. When you start, and we all know it, I don't have time for this anymore, I don't have time for that anymore. That's when your mind and your body are saying, think about that. I'm neglecting my fiance, I'm neglecting my disciplines of life, I'm neglecting my reading, my learning, my workouts, my diet. When you start neglecting all of that, you neglect one of them. You can neglect all of them a long time. It's going to haunt you. When you start seeing that, my God, I haven't eaten right in a long time, haven't been sleeping right in a long time, it can only be one of those things to take you off. So I'm very aware of my eating, my sleeping, my disciplines of life. And when I start to get too far away from them, it's a hard stop. Because what made me are the not just disciplines, the self-disciplines of life. And those are always in front of you. If you have any, they're always in front of you. So that's my hard stop.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's great advice. And I guess a simple example is of like sleep. Like when you wake up in the morning,
That's right.
There's a part of you that's going, I'll just go back to sleep.
Exactly.
Right? When we used to wake up at 4 a.m. as monks, sometimes 3, it's like there's the part, and then that's what you're saying. And then all you hear is yourself saying, it's all right, just go sleep, it's okay.
That's right.
But then that voice has got quieter that says, no, you need to get up.
That's right.
You need to get up. And you've just pushed it away. You just pushed it away. And that's the discomfort that you need to
That's right.
embrace.
Exactly. So those voices are very important. They can guide you. And that's the thing about it. Like I said, the mind's the most powerful weapon in the world.
Yeah.
It can guide you to being very comfortable also.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful. The mind will trick you.
Yeah.
And it's saying, just sleep in today. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't deserve it. So there's that fine line of the mind getting the tactical advantage over you to where you're like, I've worked too hard.
Yeah.
You really haven't worked hard enough. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In when we were trained as monks in the Vedic philosophy, it talks about the difference between the mind and the intelligence. So the mind is compared to a child and the intelligence is compared to a parent. And so when the child goes loose, when the mind goes loose, when it's not trained, controlled, disciplined, self-disciplined, etc., it can have tantrums. It can throw things out the pram, right? It demands more. Like a child always wants to sleep in.
Right. Always.
Right? Always. Even if the child knows that it's better to wake up to go to school,
right.
The child doesn't want to. A child doesn't want to study for exams.
Right.
Because it's hard, it's painful. And the adult's role, which is the intelligence, which is often we forget that it exists, the intelligence is that voice coaching the mind.
That's right.
But what often happens is the intelligence just tries to shout at the mind like a bad parent.
Exactly.
The parent just shouts.
That's 100%.
No teaching, no education, no knowledge, just shouts.
That is 100%. The way you explain that about the child's mind is 100% the truth. I just want to sleep in. Always throwing tantrums. Never getting what they want. Whenever they don't get what they want, they throw a tantrum. But what happens is we never grow. We are 40, 50, 60 still throwing that tantrum we once did at 7 and 8 years old. So people think with age is growth. No, it's not. You have to go back into the scarring to get the growth.
Absolutely, because if with age you just repeated what you did when you were younger,
exactly.
It's just stronger.
That's it.
Right? You've just strengthened a bad muscle.
I'm throwing a bigger tantrum at 43 than I did at 8.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, you just strengthen a bad muscle. Stronger, 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 stronger. And then that can break you.
100%.